What if events went differently in Spider-Man 2002? What if Uncle Ben lived in Spider-Man 2002? Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, to a brand new Marvel's What If episode. Imagine a scenario where Peter Parker, driven by a newfound sense of responsibility, courage, intervened before tragedy could strike. Picture Peter Parker thwarting the plans of both Dennis Carradine, the burglar, who would eventually take Uncle Ben's life, and Flint Marko, the man who would become the sand-powered supervillain known as the Sandman. By saving Uncle Ben from the gunshot, Peter Parker alters the course of his own destiny, and the ripple effects of the singular moment throughout the lives of everyone entangled in the web of Spider-Man. Peter's life would undoubtedly be profoundly affected, no longer burdened by the guilt and remorse that stems from falling to save his uncle. Peter's journey as Spider-Man takes a different trajectory. He embraces his role as a superhero with even greater determination and focus, driven not only by the desire to protect innocent lives, but also by the love and gratitude he feels towards his living Uncle Ben. The web of impact extends further, affecting the lives of countless others who cross paths with the masked hero. The messages inherited in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films would evolve, as themes of loss and guilt give way to a narrative of hope, second chances, and the enduring power of heroism. Let us now embark on a journey to witness the unfolding of this alternate timeline, where the web of possibilities stretches before us. With bated breath, we shall watch as the destinies of Peter Parker, Uncle Ben, Harry Osborn, Aunt May, Norman Osborn, and all those who were affected by the presence of Spider-Man intertwine in this new and unforeseen ways. Through the lenses of this alternate reality, we will observe Peter as he embraces his role as Spider-Man with renewed purpose, fighting crime and protecting the innocent with unwavering determination. We shall witness the evolution of his relationship with Uncle Ben, guided not only by the shared tragedy they avoided, but also the mutual respect and love that blossom between them. Part 1. A moment rewritten. The impactful shift in Spider-Man's legacy. The wrestling match ended after a brutal finish. Peter Parker, with his newfound powers, defeated Bonesaw in a cage match for $3,000. Peter ended the match by kicking Bonesaw into the ropes, where Bonesaw would suffer a neck injury from the attack. The referee picked up Peter's hand, declaring that he had won the fight. Peter knew what this meant for his future. His future with Mary Jane would be secured. Peter could now buy the car he always wanted and impress her. He knew that whatever it took to secure that future he needed, and tonight he was one step closer to do it. With his newfound powers surging through his veins, Peter Parker unleashed an impressive display of strength and agility in the wrestling match. The $3,000 prize money was more than just a financial reward. It symbolized the key to securing a brighter future, one intertwined with the love and compassion for Mary Jane. In Peter's mind, the car he had always wanted represented more than just a model of transportation. It stood as a testament to his transformation, a tangible embodiment of his growth and newfound abilities. With the prized possession, he envisioned impressing Mary Jane, a way to capture her heart and solidify their future together. Driven by the desire to protect and provide for the woman he loved, Peter knew that he had to seize every opportunity that came his way. The wrestling match victory marked as a crucial step forward on his journey, bringing him closer to the life he envisioned with Mary Jane Watson. Little did Peter know that this milestone would be but the first of many trials he would face. The web-slinger's path was bound to the entangled with greater challenges and extraordinary responsibilities. Yet, at this moment, standing victorious in the wrestling ring, Peter Parker dared to believe that his dreams were within reach, and he was willing to do whatever it took to secure that future. Peter made his way backstage, his frustration growing as he approached the wrestling promoter. As the money was counted, disappointed itched Peter across Peter's face. $100. The ad said 3,000. Peter voiced his dissatisfaction, but the promoter showed no willingness to rectify the situation. The promoter's expression told Peter everything he needed to know about the match's outcome. Check it again, webhead. It said $3,000 for 3 minutes, and you pinned him in 2. For that, I give you 100, and you're lucky to get that. The promoter retorted, his tone dismissive. I need that money. Peter pleaded, his hopes for a future with Mary Jane and acquiring the car he desperately wanted faded away. But the promoter responded, I missed the part where that's my problem. A surge of anger fueled Peter's actions as he swiftly took the sum of $100. Just as he was walking down the hallway, a commotion caught his attention. Voices raised and a chaotic frenzy put the money in the bag. Peter turned his head to witness the unfolding chaos. Before he could react, he saw a robber, armed with a gun, charging towards the elevator. Time seemed to slow down as Peter locked eyes with the criminal. At that moment, Peter sensed an aurora radiating from the man, as if he carried death itself with him. Paralyzed by fear and apprehension, Peter gulped with a dilemma. The money that had been taken from him no longer mattered, but a sense of impending doom urged him to take action, to prevent a potential tragedy from unfolding. As the man approached, Peter felt a knot in his stomach, a mix of fear and determination. He mustered the strength to break free from the chains of his own future, carving a new path for himself, one undone to the identity of Spider-Man, though he was yet to realize it. With a surge of adrenaline and the lingering anger he had felt earlier, Peter swiftly moved forward. In a split second, he pinned the robber against the hallway walls, rendering him helpless. A police officer arrived just in time to witness the heroic act. That's enough. We'll be taking it from here, the officer declared. Peter released his grip on the robber, a mix of guilt and uncertainty flooding his senses. But deep down he knew he had done the right thing, regardless of the money he had lost. A sense of pride and righteousness watched over him. I need to talk to you, the promoter called out. Peter turned his attention to the promoter, watching as the robber was handcuffed and taken away. You got gifts, kid. I'll give you that. I've never seen anybody with your level of talent, and I want to offer you a full-time job here, the promoter proposed. Peter's eyebrows raised in surprise. A job, he questioned, unsure of what to make of the unexpected offer. Yes, and I'll even give you the money if you think about it, the promoter added, raising his hand, gesturing towards the bag of money. The vision of his dreams with Mary Jane once again flickered in Peter's mind. I'll think about it. Thank you, Peter responded, a hint of gratitude in his voice. The promoter handed him the promised $3,000, sealing the deal with a firm handshake. See you around, kid. The promoter bidded him farewell, leaving Peter to contemplate the newfound path that laid before him. Tremors coursed through Peter's body as he continued walking away from the entrance, in disbelief, still lingering in his mind. The unexpected reward of $3,000 left him feeling a mix of emotions. The anger that had consumed him earlier had dissipated, replacing by a tingle of remorse. He couldn't help but reflect on his own oversight in not thoroughly reading the rules. However, an opportunity for even greater financial gain presented itself with the job. Thoughts of the possibilities, the potential wealth he could amass with his powers, flooded Peter's mind. He even entertained the idea of joining an international wrestling match. As these thoughts enveloped him, a sense of calm settled within, guiding him out of the facility. But before Peter could fully immerse himself in his newfound dreams, a change in the atmosphere caught his attention. His senses heightened, his steps slowed, and a sense of foreboding overcame him. Something ominous was unfolding, though its exact location eluded him. He continued walking, as if some unseen force directed him towards the source of distress. Sounds reaching his ears, widening his ears and eyes with anticipation. Flint Marco's plan had unraveled, and Dennis must have been captured. Time was running out for Flint, and desperation pushed him to seek a getaway. Near the library, an elderly gentleman waited unsuspectedly, unaware of the imminent danger approaching. If the old man could be convinced in lending his car, he could assist his daughter and find a way to save her from cancer. A loud bang reverted through the air, causing the elderly man, Ben, to be startled. His heart skipped a beat as he turned to see a man tapping on his car window. "I just need your car," Flint demanded. His desperation, Ben, trying to defuse the situation, replied, "No, wait, sir. You don't want to do this. My daughter, she's dying," Flint cried out, his voice a desperate plea for help and understanding. Ben placed his hands on Flint's shoulders, attempting to calm him down. "Just put down the gun and go home," he implored. Gazing into Flint's eyes, Ben knew his fate was sealed, but it didn't matter to him anymore. He found solace in knowing that, regardless of the outcome, he had done the right thing. Meanwhile, as Peter continued his walk, a sickening feeling grew in the pit of his stomach, overseeing that Ben's car door was ajar. Peter's instincts kicked in, propelling him to sprint and investigate. His heart sank as he witnessed Ben lying on the ground. Flint and Marco held him at gunpoint. Yet amidst the chaos, Peter spotted another figure, another robber armed with a gun. Driven by pure rage, he unleashed a swift kick, disarming the second robber. Flint frantically searched for the weapon, but Peter tackled him to the ground, raising his fist, trembling with anger. Peter unleashed his fury. "What about my uncle? Were you going to give him a chance?" He seethed, his voice filled with anguish. "Stop, Pete," Ben's voice pierced through the turmoil, Peter's hand trembling mere inches away from Flint's face. Slowly, he released his grip, allowing the man to rise while raising his hands in surrender. "I just need the car," Flint pleaded. Desperation itched in his voice. "Please, my daughter is dying. I have nothing left." Peter and Ben stood there, their gazes locked with Flint's, grappling with the weight of the situation. Ben, recognizing Peter in his human spider suit, addressed him with a question in front of Flint. Peter turned towards Ben, his head bowed in shame. "Where were you?" Ben asked. "You drove me to the library, but I never went in. I went someplace else where I could win some money to buy a car because I wanted to impress Mary Jane. It all happened so fast that I won the money and the guy wouldn't pay me. But then another robber came in and I stopped him. I saw you with him, so it's okay, son." Ben reassured him, his voice filled with understanding. Peter and Flint exchanged glances, realizing the significant moment. With great power must also come great responsibility. Ben spoke softly, the weight of those words hanging in the air. "I'm sorry," Flint whispered, genuine remorse in his voice. "I forgive you," Peter replied, his voice filled with compassion. He looked at the cash in his hands and extended it towards Flint. Peter urged, his heart swelling with empathy, tears streaming down his face, accepted the money, gratitude overwhelming him. He thanked Peter and Ben for their kindness and assistance. Emotions ran deep as they all climbed back into the car, leaving the scene behind. At that moment, Peter realized that his actions has transcended his own desires and ambitions. He had chosen the path of selflessness, understanding the true meaning of his powers. The allure of fame and fortune had been momentarily overshadowed by the impact he could have on other lives. As they drove away, Peter couldn't help but reflect on the lesson he had learned, etched into his heart. He had a responsibility to use his powers for the greater good, to protect those in need, the innocent, with Flint and Ben becoming a pivotal moment in Peter's journey, shaping his future as a hero. Little did he know that the single act of compassion would set him on a path of extraordinary challenges, where he would face unimaginable trials and discover the true extent of his abilities. The world was about to witness the birth of a hero, one whose actions would result far beyond the confines of his own personal aspirations. And so, as the car disappeared into the distance, Peter shifted his gaze towards Uncle Ben, gratitude welling up within him for both the lesson Ben had taught him and the support he had provided. Though disappointed about not being able to get the car, Peter turned to Ben, seeking guidance. "What should I do, Uncle Ben?" he asked. Ben looked at Peter with a smile. "Mary Jane has a genuine interest in you. You won't need a fancy car to impress her," he advised, his voice filled with wisdom. Peter contemplated those words, realizing that his character and actions were far more important than material possessions. He knew that he had the capacity to make things right with Mary Jane and win her heart, even without a lavish display. Amidst the traffic, Peter took a deep breath and mustered the courage to reveal his newfound abilities to Uncle Ben. He confessed that he had been bitten by one of the spiders during the university tour. Peter explained how he now possessed extraordinary powers, capable of climbing walls and spinning webs from his wrists. It was a secret he had carried alone until now. Listening instantly, Ben acknowledged Peter's revelation and recognized it as a gift. He imparted words of encouragement, assuring Peter that he had been entrusted with something extraordinary. "You've been given a gift, Peter, and it's up to you to use it for the greater good," Ben said with confidence, his voice resonating with faith in Peter's potential. Upon reaching home, Peter began unbuckling his seatbelt, ready to step into a new chapter of his life. However, Ben asked him to wait, extending his hand towards Peter. "Take my hand, son," he said. Peter looked at Ben's outstretched hand and reached out, their palms meeting in a firm grip. As their hands connected, a surge of assurance coursed through Peter's veins. He glanced down and noticed the human spider outfit concealed beneath, a symbol of the hero he was destined to become. In that moment, Peter understood his purpose and the new path he needed to follow. Images of the Spider-Man drawings flashed through his mind, a clear vision of his future. Peter and Ben exchanged smiles, a shared understanding passing between them. They walked inside the house together, greeted by Aunt May, who welcomed them with open arms. The scent of tea filled the air, creating a comfort atmosphere as they gathered around, ready to embark on this new phase of their lives. Little did they know that their actions and choices would ripple through time, impacting not only their own lives, but also the lives of countless others. Peter Parker, guided by the wisdom of Uncle Ben, was about to step into the role of Spider-Man, a beacon of hope and a protector of the innocent. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, sacrifices, and incredible feats, as Peter learned to wield his powers responsibly and navigate the complexities of being a hero. But for now, in the warmth of their home, surrounded by love and support, Peter, Ben, and May shared a moment of tranquility, savoring the ordinary moments before destiny called upon them once more. After a pleasant tea session, Peter excused himself from the conversation between Ben and May, retreating back into his room. Seated on his bed, he reflected on the events of the day, contemplating the consequences of his actions and the choices that he made. The thought of what might have happened had he allowed the first robber to escape briefly crossed his mind, but he quickly dismissed it, pushing the thought aside. Peter's focus shifted to his Spider-Man suit. Flipping through his drawings, he detected himself to perfecting the iconic red and blue suit. With unwavering determination, he was fueled by passion and the anticipation of his new identity. The night wore on, and as dawn approached, Peter finally completed the suit. A smile spread across his face as he admired his hard work, the mask staring back at him in perfection. Spider-Man is born, Peter thought, a surge of excitement and purpose coursing through his veins. Setting the suit aside, proud of his creation. Peter decided that it was time to rest. He settled into bed, ready to surrender to a well-deserved sleep. However, as he closed his eyes, he was overcome by a series of vivid flashes. Images of events he had never witnessed before invaded his mind, blending with scenes that were yet to come. A haunting voice echoed in his head, accusing him of questioning his choices. Another voice vowed vengeance, filled with anger and darkness. Peter found himself running in his dream, pursued by a menacing figure, riding on a glider with sinister mechanical arms, desperately seeking refuge. He stumbled upon a door and rushed inside. Another voice pleaded for his help, admitting an inability to face the imminent threats alone. Yet another voice, seething with rage, vowed to exact revenge, mirroring a deep personal vendetta. Startled, Peter abruptly woke up, his body strained in sweat, and it was the morning. He found Uncle Ben standing nearby, a comforting presence in the darkness. "Hey Pete," Ben greeted him, sensing his distress. Peter's eyes darted around the room, still gripped by fear. Ben reassured him, assuring him that everything was alright, and that he needed to share something important. At that moment, May gently opened the door, a soft smile glancing at her face. Ben informed Peter that he had confided in May about his extraordinary powers, and that they both had pledged to keep his secret safe. May expressed her pride in Peter, having learned of his selfless act of giving up the money to help someone in need. United in their support, Ben and May stood there, their love and admiration for Peter shining through. As Peter's gaze fell upon his newly crafted Spider-Man suit, a question lingered in the air. Ben and May eagerly inquired if he intended to utilize it. Meeting their eyes with determination, Peter shared his plan. He explained that he intended to use his powers to combat criminals and assist those in need. He conveyed his beliefs that there were tasks beyond the reach of police, tasks that he felt compelled to undertake. With the resolve, he grabbed the suit and started putting it on, ready to embrace his role as Spider-Man. May and Ben looked upon Peter with a mixture of pride, concern, and support. They recognized the weight of his decision and the challenges that laid ahead. In unison, they nodded, silently communicating their trust and belief in the boy. With a final smile, Peter leaped out of the house, swinging through the streets of Queens, embracing his destiny as the newfound hero, Spider-Man. As the city below woke up, unaware of the hero that now soared above, Peter Parker, clad in his red and blue costume, embarked on a journey to protect the innocent, fight crime, and bring hope to those in need. Swinging effortlessly through the bursting streets, Peter's senses heightened, attuned to every sound and movement below. He felt a surge of different powers. He felt a surge of acceleration, a newfound purpose coursing through his veins. With each web-slinging leap, Peter surveyed the cityscape, observing everything from unique vantage points. He saw the struggles and hardships that often went unnoticed by others, the hidden ones, the hidden cries for help that echoed within the shadows. It was a responsibility he willingly embraced, knowing that he possessed the powers to make a difference. As Spider-Man, Peter honed his abilities, honed his reflexes, and embraced the agility bestowed upon him by the Spider-Pite. He patrolled the city, thwarting criminals, rescuing those trapped in situations, and lending a helping hand to the downtown area. His actions sparked inspiration in the heart of everyday citizens, reminding them that the heroes do exist, even the most unordinary of individuals. However, beneath the veil of the city's newfound hope, an ominous presence stirred the air as something was coming that Peter Parker couldn't see. The bittersweetness of the graduation day lingered in Peter's heart as he looked over at Ben and May. They had witnessed his growth and transformation, and now Peter was entering adulthood. Ben's handshake and a warm hug reaffirmed their unbreakable bond, a condition that would guide Peter through the challenges that laid ahead. But amidst everything, Peter's attention was drawn to the unfolding drama nearby. His gaze locked onto Mary Jane, who had just broken up with Flash Thompson. The fleeting glimpse stirred a mix of emotions within him, a desire to reach out and comfort her, to be a friend she needed in that moment. And there, amidst the sea of graduates, he spotted Harry Osborn, his closest companion. May encouraged Peter to approach Harry as he needed somebody there for him. As Harry and Norman neared, a substantial tension filled the air. Ben's stern gaze conveyed his reservations toward Norman, and Peter couldn't help but pick up the undercurrent of unease. Norman, in an attempt to bridge the gap, expressed his pride in Peter's achievements and extended a job offer at Oscorp, even offering Peter a new home in New York City with Harry. Ben, ever the protector, positioned himself before Peter, asserting the importance of Peter making his own decisions. Aunt May interjected, her voice calming presence amidst the growing tension. Peter and Harry exchanged awkward glances, grappling with the weight of the choices before them. Peter mustered the courage to decline Norman's offer, explaining that he had secured a position at the Daily Bugle, an opportunity that aligned with his passion for photography and storytelling. Ben and May stood by their nephew's side, unwavering in their support. Norman smiled, masking his true feelings of insult and disappointment. The graduation ceremony drew at a close, leaving Peter with a weird sense. Change swept over him like an unrelenting tide, and, amidst the whirlwind, he regretted not having a chance to speak with Mary Jane. Days turned into weeks, and Peter settled into his new job at the Daily Bugle. The blustering newsroom became his second home, a place where he honed his skills as a photographer while navigating the chaos of New York City. The dynamic landscape mirrored the whirlwind of emotions within Peter, a constant reminder of the challenges he faced, both as a young man and as a new begun hero. As Peter immersed himself in his work, he discovered an innate talent for capturing the essence of the city through his lens. His photographs spoke volumes, conveying the raw energy, resilience, and beauty of New York City and its people. His dedication to storytelling propelled him to uncover the untold narratives that laid hidden beneath the surface, shedding light on the injustices and struggles faced by the people of New York City. Yet, even as Peter immersed himself in his work and friendship, his heart longed for more. The absence of Mary Jane in his life left an itch, an ache that couldn't be ignored. He yearned to rebuild their connection, to be there for her, not only as a friend, but as someone who could understand and support her on a deeper level. It was a desire that fueled his determination to bridge the distance that had grown between them, and that did happen. In the midst of his shift at the Daily Bugle, Parker's dual life as Spider-Man and photographer collided. Jameson's obsession with capturing images of Spider-Man provided Peter with countless opportunities to showcase his alter ego. He positioned his camera, eagerly to snap more pictures that would not only satisfy Jameson's appetite, but also serve as a means to support himself and his loved ones. Amidst the chaos of the bursting city streets, Peter's lenses caught a glimpse of a familiar face, Mary Jane. His heart skipped a beat as he struggled to comprehend the moment. Determined to seize the opportunity, he called out her name, hoping to engage her in conversation. At first, MJ's response was dismissive, a defensive mechanic, but as their eyes met, she softened up, and a spark reignited within her. She was taken aback to see Peter in the midst of the blustering cityscape. The unexpected encounter sparked a sense of familiarity and comfort. Curious, she inquired about his presence, and Peter casually responded, "I've been in the neighborhood. What have you been up to these days?" Conversation went as if no time had passed since their last encounter. Mary Jane shared snippets of her life, expressing her dedication to her acting lessons and her job. However, beneath her brave facade, there was a hint of unease. Her boss's sudden outburst interrupted their conversation, revealing a glimpse of the struggles MJ faced. Abruptly, Peter reassured her that it was nothing to be embarrassed about, offering his support and understanding. A flicker of gratitude graced MJ's eyes as she acknowledged Peter's empathetic response. In that moment of vulnerability, she confided in him, urging him not to disclose her job to Harry. Peter's mind raced, attempting to reconcile the complexity of the situation. Unbeknownst to him, MJ and Harry were dating, and the revelation left him feeling both regretful and understanding. As MJ expressed her appreciation for Peter's presence in her life, the lingering connection between them became palpable. Peter's desire to confess his feelings for her surged, but the timing seemed wrong. His commitment to his responsibilities as Spider-Man and his obligations to capture photos for the Daily Bugle wrestled with his longing for a deeper connection with MJ. With a bittersweet smile, Peter declined MJ's invitation to hang out, citing his upcoming obligations at the expo and his photo assignment for the Daily Bugle. Their paths intersected momentarily, only to veer apart once again. Peter bid her farewell, leaving a trail of unfinished words and unspoken emotions in his wake. As he walked away, a whirlwind of emotions enveloped Peter. Regret tinged his heart, knowing that he had missed out on a crucial opportunity to express his love for Mary Jane. Yet a flicker of hope remained, fueling his determination to navigate the complexities of his dual life and find a way to reveal his true self to her. The expo loomed on the horizon, a convergence of technology, evolving, and human ambition. Peter's role as Spider-Man demanded his presence there, capturing the essence of the event through his lens. It was a task that felt both exciting and burdensome, for he knew that his path would intertwine with Mary Jane and Harry once again. But what he didn't know was that his path would be intertwined with another. Norman Osborn seethed with rage as he contemplated the betrayal of his board members. They had conspired to sell the company, driven by their inability to secure the converted military contracts, their monumental financial losses. Determined to take revenge and regain control of Oscorp, Norman devised a plan to steal the flight suit and glider, unleashing a wave of destruction at the expo that he would eliminate his treacherous colleagues. With their demise, Norman would solidify his grip on the company, thwarting the threat of Quest Aerospace and ensuring the survival of Oscorp. He would also rule with an iron fist, as the Green Goblin's grip on Norman had maintained. Meanwhile, on the rooftop of the expo building, the board members of Oscorp reveled in the festives, oblivious to the impending doom that awaited them. Music filled the air as laughter and celebrations echoed through the night. It seemed that everything was going according to plan for the treacherous board members, who were on the verge of abandoning Oscorp to join forces with Quest Aerospace. The lure of vast wealth had persuaded them to align with Quest, a company intended on utilizing a serum to clone super soldiers for the expansion of the US military. Unbeknownst to the board members, Harry Osborn and his girlfriend, Mary Jane Watson, found themselves at the expo, searching for Harry's elusive father. As they approached the board members, inquiring about Norman's whereabouts, Peter Parker, fulfilling his duties for the Daily Bugle, captured the scene through his camera lens. Zooming in, his heart sank as he witnessed Mary Jane and Harry together, a pang of sadness and longing piercing his soul. The reality of Harry being in a relationship with MJ weighed heavily on Peter's spirit. In the midst of Peter's emotional turmoil, his heightened senses abruptly shifted. An intense pursuit built in his head, warning him of imminent danger ahead. As he scanned the expo from a distance, he noticed a dark cloud of smoke blowing over, accompanied by chilling, maniacal laughter, fear gripping him. Realizing that this was no mere skeptical of the expo, within moments, a figure emerged on the stolen Oscorp glider and equipment, wielding a pumpkin bomb that was unleashed upon the unexpected board members. Panic ensued as chaos erupted, and Peter's gaze darted across the crowd, desperately searching for his loved ones. In a split second, he spotted May and Ben among the crowd, their lives hanging in the balance. Driven by a sense of responsibility, Peter's instincts kicked into overdrive. Abandoning his duties as Peter Parker, he transformed into Spider-Man, propelling himself up. Just as the goblin figure was about to deliver a fatal blow, Spider-Man swooped in, webbing the figure's hand to prevent the detonation. With swift and agile movements, Spider-Man secured the pumpkin bomb, exposing it in the Green Goblin's hand. Realizing the glider malfunctioned, Spider-Man knew that he had to neutralize the threat completely. He kicked the figure off the glider, engaging in a fierce hand-to-hand combat, each blow delivered with precision. Finally, the mask was dislodged, revealing the face of his adversary, Norman Osborn himself. Shock coursed through Spider-Man's veins, momentarily paralyzing him. In the aftermath of the intense battle, Spider-Man managed to web up Norman before he could escape. The night marked the downfall of Norman Osborn, and overnight the acquisition of Oscorp by Quest Aerospace. Norman found himself imprisoned, while Spider-Man was hailed as a hero who saved the expo and its attendees. News of Spider-Man's heroics spread like wildfire in the news, reaching the ears of the board members at Quest Aerospace. They seized the opportunity to publicly acknowledge the web-slinger's bravery and announce their intentions to honor him with the key to the city. Additionally, they hinted at something else. The board members, now at Quest Aerospace, hinted at offering Spider-Man something more. The prospect left Peter in a state of disbelief and curiosity, but he knew he couldn't let the excitement overshadow his responsibilities and the decisions he needed to make. As the news of Norman Osborn's true identity as the Green Goblin spread, it sent shockwaves through the city. Peter, burdened with the knowledge of Harry's connection to the villainous figure, felt a mix of sympathy and concern for his friend. He understood the weight that this revelation would bear on Harry's shoulders, and he knew that he had to be there for him. Despite the chaos and the sudden turn of events, Peter's thoughts gravitated towards Ben and May. They had narrowly escaped the clutches of the Green Goblin's rampage, and their safety reminded him of the utmost priority. After ensuring their well-being, he sought solace in their wisdom and guidance, needing their counseling to navigate the uncertain path that laid ahead, while grappling with the revelation and the responsibilities that came with his dual life. Peter Parker couldn't shake off the lingering intrigue of Quest Aerospace's board members' offer. The opportunity to meet with them and potentially uncover the something more that they had alluded to left him with a sense of both curiosity and caution. He realized that their intentions might not align with his own principles as Spider-Man, and he needed to tread carefully. In the days that followed, Peter found himself torn between his personal desires and the moral obligations that came with being a hero. He understood that meeting with the board members could potentially unlock new opportunities and resources to aid his crime-fighting endeavors. He couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that their motivations might not entirely align with the greater good. Seeking solace in his alter ego, Spider-Man continued to protect the city, using his newfound fame to inspire hope and deter criminals. His encounters with ordinary citizens, witnessing the impact that he had on their lives, fueled his resolve and reminded him of the responsibility that he carried. It was a dedicated balance, juggling the demands of his personal life and the obligations of being a superhero. Within the confines of Quest Aerospace, Norman Osborn found himself subjected to the consequences of his own actions. The board members, resentful of his attempts to eliminate them, sought retribution. The experimentation and torment inflicted upon him served as a grim reminder of the dangerous line that Norman had crossed. Norman, now strapped and at the mercy of his former colleagues, faced a bleak and uncertain future. As the days turned into weeks, Peter contemplated his next steps. The key to the city ceremony approached, and he knew it would be a defining moment. He sought the guidance of Ben and May, discussing the implications of meeting with the board members and the potential repercussions it could have on his life as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Together, they weighed the risks and the rewards, ultimately concluding that Peter's integrity and commitment to justice must guide his decisions. They reminded him of the importance of staying true to his principles and warned him against the allure of power and material gain. Armed with their wisdom and unwavering support, Peter resolved to approach the Quest Aerospace board members cautiously. He would listen to their proposition, but he would not compromise his values or the safety of those he cared about. With his newfound clarity, he prepared himself for the ceremony that would mark a turning point in his journey as Spider-Man. As the city held its anticipation, Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, stood ready to still face the board members, preparing to confront the challenges that lay ahead. The path he would choose would not only define him as a true hero, destiny of those closest to him, with his loved ones by his side, and a steadfast determination burning within. The day had finally arrived. The city was abuzz with anticipation as a large crowd gathered in the heart of New York. A red curtain stood tall, concealing something of great significance. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, stood at the center of attention, his new suit showcased in a secure container behind the curtain. The Quest Aerospace board members, impressed by Spider-Man's unwavering commitment to justice and the city's safety, had organized a grand event to honor him. They believed he deserved more than just a key to the city. They wanted to recognize his bravery and dedication by unveiling his new suit, a symbol of his evolution into an even greater hero. Peter stood before the crowd, his heart filled with a mix of excitement and responsibility. He understood the significance of this moment, not just for himself, but for all those who believed in him and looked up to him as a symbol of hope. As the red curtain slowly descended, revealing the container housing the new suit, a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes were fixed on the state-of-the-art armor that gleamed under the spotlights. The suit was a marvel of engineering, with sleek lines and a design that executed both strength and agility. The board members stepped forward, presenting Peter with the key to the city. But it wasn't just a key, it was a symbol of trust, recognition, and the city's gratitude for his unwavering dedication. The key sparkled in the sunlight, a tangible representation of the faith that the people of New York had placed in Spider-Man. With the key in his hand, Peter made his choice. He accepted the key, embracing the responsibility that came with it. He knew that the city needed him now more than ever, and this new suit represented a powerful tool in his ongoing battle against crime and injustice. The board members then explained the enhancements of the suit to the eager crowd. The armor was made of an advanced technology, bulletproof material that could withstand the most powerful of attacks. The technology woven into the fabric provided him with enhanced strength, agility, and an array of specialized web shooters and different features. It was a suit designed to protect him as he protected others. Peter, now donning the new suit, felt the weight of its significance. He knew that this suit couldn't easily be destroyed. It was more than just a physical shield. It represented his commitment to being an unyielding force for good. With the crowd cheering and applauding, Peter raised his hand, a gesture of gratitude and determination. As he did, he also saw Flint Marko and his daughter in the crowd. Peter nodded at the two of them with a tear in his eye. The people looked up to him, inspired by his unwavering resolve and the symbol he had become. From that day forward, Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, embraced his true role as the city's protector and renewed vigor. The new suit became a part of his crime-fighting arsenal, empowering him to face even the most formidable adversaries. He swung through the city, patrolling the streets, with a heightened sense of purpose. Criminals trembled at the sight of the bulletproof armor, knowing that their usual tactics would be ineffective against the indomitable Spider-Man. But while the suit provided him with enhanced capabilities, Peter never lost sight of the core values that guided his actions. He used his newfound power responsibly, always mindful of the impact he could make on other lives and those who sought to be protected. As he swung through the city, Peter's presence inspired hope and reassurance in the heart of its inhabitants. The people knew that they had a hero who would always be there to stand against injustice. With every swing Peter Parker, Spider-Man proved himself to not only be a hero, but a symbol of unwavering strength and determination. And as long as the city needed him, Spider-Man would be there, his new suit serving as a constant reminder of his commitment to the greater good. The enhanced capabilities of the suit allowed Spider-Man to tackle even the most daunting challenges. Its bulletproof armor provided him with an additional layer of protection, shielding him from the bullets and other high-impact attacks. No longer would he feel the relentless onslaughts of his enemies. He could face them head-on with confidence. But the true power of the suit went beyond its physical attributes. It symbolized Spider-Man's unwavering resolve and his refusal to back down in the face of adversity. The suit became a symbol of hope for the people of New York, a beacon of reassurance in troubled times. Peter Parker, the young man behind the mask, understood the weight of his responsibility. He knew that he had to live up to the trust that people placed in him by the city and its citizens. With the new suit, he was ready to take on the challenges that laid ahead, both as Spider-Man and as Peter Parker. In his daily life, Peter remained a devoted friend to Harry Osborn, offering support and understanding as he dealt with the revelations about his father's alter ego, the Green Goblin. Peter knew the importance of friendship and loyalty, and he would continue to be there for Harry no matter what. In the aftermath of the backlashes and revelations surrounding Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn found himself caught in a downward spiral. The weight of his father's actions, coupled with the public scrutiny and the unrallying of his relationship with MJ, took a toll on his emotions. Harry's love for Mary Jane had been genuine, but the knowledge that his father had caused so much pain and chaos in their lives became a huge obstacle. Feeling overwhelmed by the circumstances, Harry made the difficult decision to end his relationship with Mary Jane, believing that it was the best for both of them, given the complicated nature of their connection. As the days turned into weeks, Harry's downward spiral continued. He struggled with guilt and a profound sense of loss. The weight of his family's legacy weighed heavily on his shoulders, making it difficult for him to find his own identity and purpose. Harry felt adrift, unsure of who he truly was outside of his father's shadow. Recognizing his friend's turmoil, Peter Parker extended an open invitation to Harry to come and stay with him at Uncle Ben's and Aunt May's house. Peter knew that living in such a supportive environment could provide Harry with the stability and love he needed during this challenging time. Harry hesitantly accepted Peter's offer and moved into the cozy house that had become a second home for both of them. Ben and Aunt May welcomed Harry with open arms, offering him the same care and support that they had shown Peter throughout the years. They provided a safe space for Harry to heal and rediscover himself. In the days that followed, Peter and Harry spent countless hours talking, sharing their hopes, fears, and dreams. They leaned in on each other for support, understanding the unique challenges they faced as the sons of powerful and complicated fathers. Though their bond, they found solace and strength. As Harry immersed himself in this newfound sense of family, he began to slowly rebuild his life. With Peter's encouragement, he pursued his own passions and interests, exploring different paths and searching for a sense of purpose beyond his father's legacy. Together, Peter and Harry faced their own personal demons and worked through the challenges that threw their way. They learned to rely on each other as brothers, creating an unbreakable bond that strengthened them both. Through it all, Aunt May and Uncle Ben acted as guiding lights, offering wisdom, support, and unconditional love. Their home became a sanctuary where Peter and Harry could heal, grow, and find their own paths in life. In time, Harry Osborn began to rediscover his sense of self and forged a new identity, separate from his father's legacy. The wounds from his past slowly started to heal, and he found solace in pursuing his own dreams and aspirations. The bond between Peter and Harry grew stronger with each passing day. They became more than friends. They became family. Together, they faced the challenges of life as they continued to navigate the complexities of being heroes in their own right. And in the warmth home of Ben and Aunt May's house, Peter and Harry found the love, support, and strength they needed to overcome their personal struggles and emerge as stronger individuals. They became a testament to the power of friendship, resilience, and the unbreakable ties that bind us together. Peter never lost sight of the values enlisted in him by Uncle Ben and Aunt May. He understood that true power came not just from the suit, but from the choices he made and the actions he took. He remained committed to doing the right thing, even in the face of difficult decisions. The city honored Spider-Man, not just for his heroic deeds, but the symbol he had become. A symbol of resilience, bravery, an unwavering dedication. He was more than just a hero in a suit. He was a symbol of hope in a world that was often dark. And so, Spider-Man swung through the city streets of New York, his new suit glistering in the sunlight. With each web-slinging adventure, he brought a sense of security to the city, reminding its inhabitants that they were not alone. Peter had made his choice to embracing the key to the city, the new suit, and the responsibility that came with them. With every swing, he affirmed his commitment to being the hero that New York needed, inspiring others to believe in the power of one person to make a difference. And as long as the city called him Spider-Man, he would be there. His new suit, a symbol of unwavering strength, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of a true hero. But Spider-Man was yet to face his darkest challenge yet. In the grim confines of the underground facility known as Ravencroft, the board members of Quest Aerospace reveled in their sadistic torment of Norman Osborn. Weeks turned into a nightmarish blur as they reminded him of his failures, relishing every opportunity to inflict pain. With some board members harbored a desire to physically harm Norman, they found a twisted pleasure in subjecting him to their experimental serums, a diabolical concoction they intended to use for cloning. Among the heartless board members, a particular malevolent figure named Max, confined to a wheelchair, delighted in dominance over Norman. He forcefully gripped Norman's chin, his sadistic grin apparent as he delivered a brutal punch to his face. The laughter of the other members echoed through the room, their collective cruelty fueling the atmosphere of despair. Reveling in their triumph, they taunted Norman, revealing that they had not only taken away his wealth, but also disposed of him once their sickening experiments would conclude, imprisoning Norman within a glass case, his limbs held captive. The air became thick with a mysterious smoke that bellowed from the serums. Norman's anguished screams pierced the air as blood poured from his eyes and mouth, his body in agony. Norman pleaded for mercy, his desperate cries mingling with the gruesome sight of blood-soaked vomit. Unbeknownst to the perpetrators, the goblin serum had unintentionally merged with the cloning serum, enhancing the powers of the goblin serum and transforming Norman into an abomination. A growing unease gripped the board members as each passing moment intensified their fear. But before anyone could react, Norman's eyes snapped open, ablaze with an unworldly fire that sent shivers down their spines. Evil, sadistic smile. Flames erupted from his eyes, signaling the unleashing of his newfound power. In an instant, a colossal explosion erupted, sending shockwaves throughout the city. In the midst of the chaos, Spider-Man swung through the city in his state-of-the-art armor, his keen senses alerting him to the unfolding disaster at Ravencroft. Determined to intervene, he propelled himself with incredible speed, arriving at the facility in a blur of motion. The sight that greeted him was one that he wished he never would have saw. Devastation, ruined structures, engulfed in flames, and lifeless bodies of inmates were everywhere, like discarded puppets. As Spider-Man surveyed the wreckage, The sound of a car door slammed, and it jolted his attention. He swiftly turned to find a group of military generals and board members approaching him, their faces painted with false concern. They extended their hands for a handshake. Oblivious to Spider-Man's stoic refusal, his gaze narrowed beneath the mask. Spider-Man demanded answers, determined to unveil the truth behind the atrocities that had transpired. Unyielding, Spider-Man's clenched fist gripped one of the board members, his anger simmering just beneath the surface. Before he could unleash his frustration, a desperate voice interjected, urging him to pause, recognizing the need to maintain their public image. The board members spoke of a catastrophic equipment failure, attempting to disarray Spider-Man from further involvement. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Spider-Man reluctantly conceded, stepping into one of the black SUVs alongside his captors. However, a nagging feeling tugged at his senses, his spider senses tingling with an unmistakable warning. He remained vigilant, preparing himself for the webs of deception that laid ahead. Meanwhile, in the quiet confines of Ben and Aunt May's home, Uncle Ben and Aunt May watched the breaking news with disbelief itched across their faces. The reporter's voice cracked through the television, relaying the horrifying events that had unfolded at Ravencroft. As the news unfolded, listing the casualties and the criminals who had perished in the cataclysmic blast, a profound sense of shock and grief settled upon Uncle Ben and Aunt May. The weight of the tragedy bore down on them, knowing that Norman, the father of their dear friend Harry, had met a gruesome end. At that moment, Harry happened to be taking a sip of water, unaware of the impending blow that would shatter his world. The glass slipped from his trembling hand, crashing to the floor as he crumbled, overcome with despair upon hearing the news of his father's death. Anguish and anger, attempts, mixed emotions, and that threatened to consume him entirely. As Harry grappled with the depths of his grief, Uncle Ben and Aunt May rushed to his side. Their faces itched with empathy and concern. They wrapped their arms around him, offering solace and support amidst the storm of emotions that engulfed him. It was a heartbreaking moment for the Parker family, a reminder how fragile life could be and unyielding hardships they had to face. Meanwhile, within the confines of the SUV, Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, sat amidst the board members who had orchestrated the experiments and the subsequent catastrophe. Though they attempted to ease the tension with light-hearted banter and gestures of gratitude for his service, Peter remained on guard, his spider sense going haywire with an imminent threat. Suddenly, a chilling silence descended upon the vehicle as one of the board members leveled a gun at Spider-Man's masked face. The air grew heavily with anticipation as they assured him that everything would be fine, promising to unveil the truth behind the nightmarish events that had transpired. Spider-Man's instincts screamed at him to resist, to fight back against the treachery unfolding before him. Every muscle in his body tensed, ready to unleash his formidable powers. Yet, a silver of curiosity yawned at him, urging him to withhold his impulse for that moment and allow themselves to reveal the elusive truth that lay veiled behind their sinister intentions. And in that tense and precautious moment, Spider-Man chose to bide his time, his mind a whirlwind of determination and caution. The web-slinger prepared himself to navigate the treacherous web of deception that awaited him, resolute in his quest for justice and uncovering the darkest secrets that shrouded Norman Osborn's demise. Little did he know that the explosion events at Ravencroft would unravel a conspiracy that would test the limits of Spider-Man's resolve, challenging him both as a hero and as Peter Parker. The tangled threads of power, revenge, and scientific experimentation threatened him, demanding his unwavering commitment to unraveling the sinister truth lurking beneath the surface. As the black SUV moved through the city streets, the stage was set for a dangerous dance of revelations and redemption, where the lines between heroism and villainy would blur, and the true face of evil would be unmasked. Spider-Man's relentless pursuit of justice and his unyielding determination to protect those he loved would be put to the ultimate test in the face of a world teetering on the brink of chaos. Spider-Man, now forced to comply with the board members' demands, sat in the back of the SUV as they drove towards Quest Aerospace. His eyes narrowed with suspicion as he firmly instructed them to put the gun down. The board members and military generals reluctantly obeyed, realizing the futility of their actions against the Web-slinger. They understood that Spider-Man possessed the power to turn the tables on them if necessary. Inside Quest, Spider-Man found himself surrounded by an array of advanced technology that surpassed his wildest imagination. But what captured his attention most was the sight of Green Goblin's suit, now damaged and discarded, and the glider that once carried the villain through the skies. What shocked Peter Parker to his core was the presence of Otto Octavius, also known as a brilliant scientist in Peter's childhood in the field of science. Otto, with his iconic mechanical arms in motion, was collaborating with Quest Aerospace. Otto eagerly approached Spider-Man, extending his hand in a gesture, and the web-slinger, still reeling from the revelations unfolding before him, nodded in acknowledgement. Deep down, Peter longed to converse with Otto further, to engage in a conversation that went beyond their respective alter egos. However, the urgency of the situation left no room for such personal interactions. While Peter grappled with his conflicting emotions, the board members prepared to disclose a revelation of paramount importance. Simultaneously, Harry Osborn, consumed by grief and anger, sought solace in the presence of his late father at their family home. Ben and May desperately tried to comfort him, but Harry's pain and resentment were overwhelming. As he entered his father's house, the sight of a for sale sign ignited his fury, promoting him to lash out and demolish it. Quest had not only taken away everything he held dear, but they also snatched away everything his father had owned. In his seething rage, Harry continued his destructive path, smashing his father's prized paintings. However, amidst the chaos, he heard a voice that sent chills down his spine. Harry turned to witness a shocking sight. His father, Norman Osborn, standing before him, partially clothed and bearing a haunting presence. Overwhelmed by confusion, Harry accused his father of being dead, to which Norman retorted with a defiant no. Denying his demise, in a twisted revelation, Norman confessed his alter ego as the Green Goblin and detailed the reasons behind his actions, including the attempt to kill Harry and MJ during the expo. In a moment of terror and desperation, Harry seized a gun from a nearby table, believing his father was irredeemably evil. Trembling, he pointed the weapon at Norman, hesitantly to pull the trigger. Suddenly, the transformation overtook Norman as the goblin emerged, flames emitting from his back. With a sadistic smile, the goblin sent Harry hurling into a wall, taunting him with the words of failure and malevolence. Amidst their personal tragedy, Spider-Man, within the confines of Quest Aerospace, was confronted with the truth behind the elaborate cover-up. The board members divulged the fact that Quest had unleashed the real Green Goblin upon the city, while Norman Osborn remained alive, transformed into the monstrous Ultimate Goblin. Shock coursed through Peter's veins as he absorbed the weight of the revelation. Growing increasingly frustrated, Spider-Man finally reached his breaking point. He flipped the table before him, shouting that they were attempting to control something far beyond anything. Glancing at a TV screen broadcast, the destruction caused by the Ultimate Goblin, Spider-Man declared that he would not continuously clean up the board members' messes. Unmoved by Spider-Man's outburst, one of the board members asserted their control over him. They coldly informed him that they held full knowledge of his secret identity as Peter Parker, as well as the identity of the loved ones, Ben Parker and May Parker. It was clear that they had done their research. Threateningly, they stated that if Spider-Man didn't comply with their demands to bring Norman Osborn back, Dead or alive, Ben and May would become their primary targets. A surge of anger mixed with despair washed over Peter as he realized the extent of the board members' power. Helplessness threatened to overwhelm him, but he quickly fought to regain his composure. With a steady determination, he webbed one of the board members' mouth shut, temporarily silencing their manipulative words. However, the doors of the facility were sealed, and Spider-Man found himself surrounded by armed military personnel, their weapons trained on him. A board member smirked, confident that they had finally defeated the Web-slinger. They revealed in their control, reminding Spider-Man that his fate, and that of his loved ones, now rested entirely in his own hands. But even in the face of their dire situation, Peter couldn't help but summon a touch of his characteristic wit. He lowered his head, removed his Spider-Man helmet, and dryly remarked, "You know where to put my paychecks." A dark joke, hinting at the loss of his anomaly. As the tense silence hung in the air, Spider-Man locked eyes with the board members, his resolve burning brightly. They may have believed that they had defeated him, but they had not yet to witness the unyielding spirit of a hero pushed to his absolute. The battle for justice was far from over, and Spider-Man was prepared to unleash his web-slinging prowess and unwavering determination to expose the web of deceit that entangled them all. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos that engulfed the city, Harry Osborn found himself trapped within a nightmarish ordeal. The fiery wrath of the ultimate goblin consumed everything in its path, including the Osborn residence. The house was now a blaze inferno, with flames dancing ominously and smoke in the sky. With his heart pounding in his chest, Harry fought through the panic and fear, desperate to escape the clutches of the monstrous goblin that his father had become. He stumbled through the engulfed corridors, navigating the maze-like structure with growing urgency. The crackling of flames and the crumbling of debris filled the air, creating an eerie set of destruction. As he made his way through the treacherous inferno, Harry's mind raced with memories of his father's monstrosity, alter ego, the Green Goblin. He recalled the night of the expo, where the chaos had erupted and lives were forever changed. The weight of his father's actions and the truth he had just learned settled heavily on Harry's shoulders, fueling his determination to survive and bring an end to the nightmare once and for all. Despite the overwhelming heat and suffocating smoke, Harry pressed forward, his vision blurred and his lungs aching for fresh air. It seemed as if the flames themselves conspired to hinder his escape, licking at his heels and forcing him to move faster. The house trembled underneath the assault of the goblin's power, threatening to crumble around him. In a moment of desperation, Harry spotted a shattered window, a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Summoning every ounce of strength and courage, he lunged towards it, shattering the remaining glass with his elbow, and plunged into the outside world. The cool night providing him a brief break from the fiery torment he had just endured. Gasping for breath and converted in soot, Harry stumbled away from the burning remnants of his former home. He cast a terrified glance over his shoulder, witnessing the fury of the ultimate goblin as it unleashed its destructive might upon the city. The sight only fueled his determination to put an end to the madness that had consumed his father and threatened to consume him as well. Driven by a mixture of grief, anger, and the desire for redemption, Harry vowed to join the fight against the ultimate goblin. He knew that he couldn't do it alone, but he also knew that someone could help him. The one person who had faced Norman before, it was Spider-Man. Through the smoke-filled streets, Harry sprinted towards a street, hoping to find Spider-Man and unite their strength against the insidious threat that loomed over the city. The devastation and chaos that surrounded him only strengthened his resolve. He was determined to face his father's monstrosity and his alter ego head-on, for the sake of his father's memory and for the safety of the city he once called home. As the flames of the ultimate goblin raged on, casting an ominous glow upon the skyline, Harry's path was set. He would confront the creature that his father had become, and together with Spider-Man, they would bring an end to the regime of terror that had engulfed their lives, with newfound purpose and the weight of responsibility and sacrifice on Harry's shoulders. He was determined to restore peace and save his father from the monster that he had become. With determination itched across his face, Spider-Man emerged from the confines of Quest Aerospace, leaving behind the treacherous board members who sought to control him. The realization of their manipulations had ignited a fire within him, a fire fueled by the need to protect those he cared dear, and to put an end to the menace of the ultimate goblin. Ascending to the rooftop of the facility, Spider-Man surveyed the sprawling cityscape before him. The sight that greeted his eyes was one of utter chaos. The streets were ablaze, buildings were reduced to rubble, and terrified citizens fled in all directions. Desperately seeking safety, the wails of sirens and the crackling of fire formed a descent symphony that underscored the situation. His gaze fixated on a particular street where the fiery tendrils of destruction extended their reach. Flames danced everywhere, consuming everything in their path. It was there, amidst the swirling inferno, that the ultimate goblin revealed in its power and inflicted devastation upon the innocent. A resolute determination settled upon Spider-Man's shoulders as he recognized the weight of responsibility that came with his powers. He knew that he had the strength, the agility, and the unwavering will to face the monstrosity head-on. With every fiber of his being, he vowed to protect the city and its people from the destruction that was caused. Taking a deep breath, Spider-Man leaped from the rooftop, swinging with his whirlwind to life, swinging away, propelling him through the air with an incredible speed and precision. Swinging from building to building, he navigated the chaotic landscape, closing in on the heart of the devastation. As he approached the street, the heat intensified, searing against his costume. The stench of smoke filled his nostrils, but he pressed forward undeterred. He knew that the battle against Green Goblin would be as tough as yet. He's never faced such evil before, but he also knew that he had a duty to protect the innocent and bring an end to this rampage. Landing gracefully amidst the chaos, Spider-Man stood tall, his eyes locked onto the hulking figure of the ultimate goblin. The creature's green fury form towered over him, radiating energy. Despite the fear that threatened to grip him, Spider-Man steeled his resolve and prepared to face his most formidable opponent yet. Peter knew that going into this fight, he could die, but with great power comes great responsibility, and with a swift change in direction, Spider-Man followed the desperate plea to its source, his heart pounding with a mix of worry and determination. As he arrived at the scene, a chilling sight met his eyes. Harry Osborn, battered and concerned, stood face to face with the deranged and transformed Norman Osborn, the monstrous goblin. Harry's eyes widened in terror as the goblin unleashed a barrage of powerful strikes, each blow threatening to claim his life. Peter knew he had to do something. He couldn't let Harry die. He swung into action. With his incredible agility and reflexes, Spider-Man evaded the goblin's onslaught, intercepting each attack with precision and skill. Picking up the goblin's fist as he was trying to punch him, Spider-Man moved his arm and kicked him in the face. He weaved through the chaos, deflecting blows and countering. The battle raged on, and a desperate struggle between a father consumed by darkness and a hero determined to save a life. With every web, Spider-Man created diversions and openings, providing Harry with an escape from the goblin's assault. Drawing upon his strength and resolve, Spider-Man focused on a strategy to separate the goblin from his son, to give Harry a chance at survival. In a darling display of acrobatics, Spider-Man managed to grapple the goblin's attention, luring him away from Harry in time. Their clash intensified, the sheer force of their blows causing shockwaves that reverberated through the city streets. But Spider-Man remained undeterred, determined to protect Harry at all costs. In that moment, as the flames danced around them, Spider-Man knew that this battle was not only a physical one, but also a battle of wills. He would need to draw upon his agility, his strength, his intellect, to outmaneuver and overpower the ultimate goblin. But more than that, he would need to tap into his unwavering determination that defined him as both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. With a deep breath, Spider-Man activated his webs, and with precision and skill he swung into attack, deflecting and evading the goblin's fiery onslaught, while launching his own counterattacks. As blows were exchanged, and the clash of titans echoed through the streets, Spider-Man's resolve remained unshakable. In the face of unimaginable destruction, Spider-Man fought with unwavering determination and a sense of responsibility. He knew that the city relied on him to rise above the chaos and emerge as its savior. With every web sling and every acrobatic maneuver, he channeled his powers to protect the innocent and put an end to the regime of terror. As the battle raged on, Spider-Man's focus remained unbroken. He knew that this was the moment where heroes were born, where legends were made, and in that inferno of chaos and destruction, he was determined to be the hero the city needed. With each swing, each punch, and each calculated move, Spider-Man chipped away at the ultimate goblin's powers. But as Spider-Man did this, the ultimate goblin chipped away at his suit. Peter, realizing that the suit could not withstand the ultimate goblin's power that was radiating from his skin, he knew, deep down, if he kept fighting, eventually he might die. And he knew that this was the moment where heroes had to confront evil. Ultimate Goblin's power became intense. The intense clash between the two forces of nature sent shockwaves through the city, rattling windows and through the souls of its inhabitants. The battle seemed endless, a struggle between light and darkness, hope and despair. Amidst the chaos, the flames licked at the surrounding buildings, threatening to engulf everything in their path. As the fire spread, Spider-Man's heart sank with a mix of urgency and determination. He couldn't allow innocent lives to be claimed by the inferno that accompanied their battle. With a surge of adrenaline, Spider-Man propelled himself towards the nearest burning structure, ignoring the danger that lurked within. He swiftly maneuvered through the smoke and falling debris, searching for any trapped civilians. His spider sense guided him, alerting him of their presence amidst the chaos. One by one, Spider-Man rescued those in peril, using his webs to create a makeshift path, guiding them to safety. He moved with precision and speed, his actions a testament to his unwavering commitment to protecting the people of this city. Even amidst the intense battle, he never lost sight of his responsibility. As he rescued civilians, they found refuge in the care of emergency responders. Spider-Man returned to the ongoing clash with the ultimate goblin. The battle had taken its toll on both combatants, their bodies battered and scorched, but their spirits remain unyielding. Spider-Man's mind raced, searching for the key that would lead to victory. With each strike, he aimed to weaken the creature, exploiting its vulnerabilities and delivering blows with the precision of a master. The fight intensified as both combatants pushed themselves to their limits. As the battle reached, Spider-Man's determination burned brighter than ever. He mustered every ounce of strength within, his agility, intellect, and unwavering will to triumph over the ultimate goblin. Spider-Man's sleek armor was tormented. The once pristine and gleaming now bore the marks of the fierce encounter. The crimson and blue plating was getting destroyed with its silver. Designed to enhance his abilities and protect him from harm, showed signs of scorching and fractures from the goblin's devastating blows. Shards of metal littering the air as the relentless force of their clash threatened to shatter the armor. With every swing of his web, Spider-Man propelled himself through the chaotic battleground, narrowly avoiding blasts of fiery energy that erupted from the goblin's hands. The air cracked with the heat as Spider-Man's keen reflexes allowed him to dodge a weave through the searing flames, leaving trails of his webbing in wake. As the fight continued, the goblin's brute strength and supernatural abilities pushed Spider-Man to his limits. The thunderous impact of their clashes echoed through the city streets, shaking buildings around them. Spider-Man's powerful blow met the goblin's superhuman resilience, resulting in a display of sheer force that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Despite the relentless assault, Spider-Man's unwavering resolve and unwavering belief in the power of justice propelled him forward. With each strike, he tapped into the full potential of his enhanced senses, predicting the goblin's movements before they even occurred. His fist connected with precision, aiming for vulnerable points in the goblin's monstrosity form, causing cracks and grunts everywhere. Yet the ultimate goblin's relentless onslaught took its toll on Spider-Man's armor. The once plating now bore with different dents and glisters and gashes, the result of the goblin's savage attacks. Spider-Man's moments grew slightly more labored, the weight of his damaged suit becoming hindered, but he refused to let it deter him. As the battle raged on, the environment became an extension of their conflict. Debris soared through the air, shattered glass and chunks of concrete adding an additional layer of danger to the already chaotic scene. It felt like lava was on the floor, and Spider-Man skillfully navigated through the airborne obstacles, utilizing his acrobatic fitness to his advantage. Amidst the onslaught, Spider-Man's resilience and determination remained unyielding. The adrenaline coursing through his veins allowed him to push through the pain and exhaustion, his unwavering commitment to protecting the innocent fueling his ever more. With each punch and kick, he channeled his frustration, his anger at the injustices perpetrated by the Goblin and Quest Aerospace. In a breathtaking display of skill and bravery, Spider-Man launched a series of web-based attacks, entangling the ultimate goblin in a web of his own creation. The goblin thrashed and roared, attempting to break free from the sticky prison. As the ultimate goblin broke free from the sticky webbing that once restrained him, his monstrosity form lunged at Spider-Man with a new ferocity. In an instant, the tables turned, and the web-slinger found himself in the clutches of the hulking creature. The goblin's vice-like grip tightened around Spider-Man's suit, his immense strength threatening to crush him. With a sadistic grin spreading across his grotesque face, the goblin unleashed a fury of devastating punches, each blow landing with bone-crushing force, as blood was everywhere. Spider-Man's head snapped back as the first punch connected, sending a shockwave of pain through his body. The impact continued, but he refused to succumb to the agony. With sheer determination, he mustered every ounce of strength to counter the goblin's relentless assault. But the goblin's assault was unrelenting. Punch after punch rained down on Spider-Man, the force of each strike threatening to shatter his armor and break the spirit of the hero. The sickening sound of metal colliding with flesh filled the air, echoing through the desolate streets. As the goblin continued his barrage, Spider-Man's suit began to show visible signs of strain, cracks across the once pristine armor, revealing the full flesh beneath. The fabric strained and tore under the tremendous pressure, exposing Spider-Man's face and the absolute onslaught of the goblin. Despite the pain and the blows, Spider-Man's reflexes kicked into overdrive, his enhanced senses allowing him to anticipate the goblin's movements, enabling him to weave and dodge with the agility of a spider, and he quickly had strikes of his own, aiming for vulnerable spots on the goblin's massive frame. With each blow exchanged, the clash of titans intensified the air, and the air crackled with raw energy as two adversaries engaged in a relentless battle for supremacy. Spider-Man's vision blurred from the impact of the goblin's punches, his body aching from the punishment endured, but he refused to yield, his unyielding spirit refusing to break. As the fight escalated, the environment became a swirling vortex of literal destruction. The sound of shattering glass and crumbling concrete filled the air, mirroring the chaos of the conflict. Spider-Man utilized the debris to his advantage, using it as both a shield and as a weapon in his desperate struggle to regain the upper hand. Through sheer determination, Spider-Man summoned a surge of adrenaline, pushing his body to the limits. With each punch thrown, he channeled the pain and exhaustion into a fierce determination to protect the innocent, to bring justice to those who sought to corrupt and destroy. Through his suit hung in tatters, Spider-Man's newfound intensity Each strike he landed carried the weight of his convictions, striking at the heart of the goblin. With every blow, he fought not only for himself, but for the countless lives affected by the sinister actions of Quest Aerospace. The battle raged on, a symphony of violence and resilience, both combatants testing their limits of their endurance, their bodies battered and bloodied. And amidst the chaos, Spider-Man knew that surrender was not an option. The fate of the city and the legacy of those he held dear depended on his unwavering resolve. With one final surge of strength, Spider-Man broke free from the goblin's grip, propelling himself away from the onslaught. With his body battered and torn suit, Spider-Man rose to his feet, bloodied but unbroken. He locked eyes with Harry, a mixture of determination and sorrow reflecting his gaze. Raising his two fists, Spider-Man had a silent message to his friend, promising to protect him at any cost. In an instant, Spider-Man lunged at the transformed Norman Osborn, a torrent of punches raining him down with an unrelenting fury. Blow after blow connected with a thunderous impact, each strike fueled by years of pain, loss, and the weight of responsibility. The once mighty goblin stumbled backwards, and the fight continued. But Spider-Man's assault was not driven solely by vengeance. It was a desperate attempt to reach the man trapped behind the monstrous facade, to free Norman from the grip of darkness that had consumed him from far too long. With every punch thrown, there was a glimmer of hope that the father Harry once knew could be salvaged. As Spider-Man relentlessly pummeled the goblin, the surrounding chaos seemed to fade into the background. The world narrowed to just two figures locked in an intense struggle, their destinies intertwined. With each strike, a flicker of recognition flashed in Norman's eyes, as if memories long suppressed fought to break free. Just as it seemed that Norman was on the verge of redemption, a sinister smile crept across his face, shattering the fragile moment of hope. Peter looked at Harry with his two fists up. Harry looked back at Spider-Man and realized that it was Peter Parker. Peter smiled as Harry smiled back. The darkness surged within Norman, overpowering any remnants of the man that he once was. In an instant, the goblin's laughter echoed through the air, sending a chill down Spider-Man's spine, signaling the end of the fight. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt nearby. Ben and May emerged, their eyes filled with tears and equal parts concerns and determination. Ben rushed to Harry's side, pulling him away from the ensuing battle, while May watched with a mix of fear and unwavering love. With his last reserves of strength, Peter extended a trembling hand towards Ben, tears streaming down his face. It was a silent plea, a recognition of responsibility. He knew that his time as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, was coming to an end. The weight of the city, the sacrifices he had made, and the toll it had taken on his spirit had become too much to bear. As the tearful exchange between father and son unfolded, Norman's wicked grin widened. With a surge of energy, he transformed back into the ultimate goblin, his presence filling the air. The battle had taken its toll on both combatants, their bodies battered and minds weary. With one final act of defiance, Spider-Man rallied, summoning his remaining strength and resolve. He fought with every ounce of his being, weavering through the onslaught of the goblin's attacks. But the inevitable outcome loomed overhead, the weight of an unfair world closing in around him. In a climatic clash, the forces of darkness overwhelmed the embodied spirit of the Web-slinger as he fell to the ground, bloodied and broken, his eyes locked with Harry's for one last time. It was a bittersweet acknowledgement of the bond that they had shared as brothers, a silent farewell with unspoken words. Spider-Man extended his hand, telling everybody that this was it. His body was battered and bruised, but his spirit unyielding. He locked eyes with the ultimate goblin. A mixture of determination and sorrow reflected his gaze. "You've caused enough pain, Goblin," Spider-Man declared, his voice filled with a steady resolve. "It ends here." The ultimate goblin cackled. With a surge of adrenaline, Spider-Man lunged forward, launching himself at the towering figure before him. Blow after blow rained down as the two foes clashed, each punch accompanied by a resolving impact. "You're nothing more than a monster," goblin," Spider-Man shouted, his voice fueled by a righteous anger. "You cannot hide from what you've become." The ultimate goblin retaliated with a vicious swipe of his clawed hand, catching Spider-Man off guard. The web-slinger crashed into a nearby building, the impact sending debris cascading around him. Struggling to his feet, Spider-Man's eyes glittered with determination. He could feel the weight of the responsibility pressing upon him, urging him to rise once more. With a primal roar, Spider-Man summoned every ounce of strength within him. He reached deep into his power, channeling everything he had. As the ultimate goblin charged, Spider-Man's muscles bulged with raw power, and in an astonishing display of strength, he lifted an entire car overhead. "Enough," Spider-Man's voice reverted back through the air. "You won't hurt anyone else." With a mighty heave, Spider-Man hurled the car towards the ultimate goblin. The vehicle crashed into the monstrous figure, engulfing him in a fury explosion. As the flames engulfed the battlefield, the echoes of the fight lingered in the air. Ben, sitting in his car, a short distance away, watched with tears streaming down his face, knowing what had happened. He knew the cost of heroism, the sacrifices made in the name of protecting others. It was a fixed point, and Peter paid the price for it. As the explosion subsided, a somber silence fell upon the scene. The battle had ended, but the aftermath left a void in the hearts of those who had witnessed the clash between good and evil. Ben wiped away his tears, his voice choked with emotion. "Peter, my boy." In that moment, Ben knew the weight of the loss, the pain of a life cut short. He put his foot on the gas pedal and drove away, the echoes of the explosion fading in the distance. The city stood silent, the aftermath of the battle bearing witness to the sacrifices made in the name of justice. Spider-Man had fallen, but his legacy would endure, a reminder of the spirit that resided within every hero. And as the sun set, casting its golden hues upon the city, a new day dawned. The people thought, scared and broken, would find solace in the memory of Spider-Man's selfless heroism, for even in the face of tragedy, the spirit of Spider-Man would forever burn bright, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all. The city would heal, guided by the echoes of a hero's sacrifice, and the legacy of Spider-Man would live on, inspiring generations to come. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city into the embrace of twilight, the news of Spider-Man's sacrifice spread like wildfire. It was an hour after the battle with the ultimate goblin, and the citizens of the city stood in shock and in disbelief at the loss of their beloved hero. In the heart of the city, crowds gathered spontaneously, drawn together by collective grief that hung heavy in the air. Strangers counseled one another, sharing memories of encounters with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Some spoke of the times he swung to their rescue, while others reminisced about his quick wit and his spirit. Tributes began to appear, scattered like flowers of the solemn grave. Pictures, drawings, candles were even lit, their flickering flames serving as a beacon of remembrance. The city's skyline, usually vibrant and alive with the web-slinger's acrobatics, now stood as a silent testament to the absence. Buildings seemed to be mourned, their towering structures casting long shadows, if paying homage to a fallen hero. The city streets, usually bursting with life, now echoed with the hushed whispers of mourning. News outlets carried special reports, their somber tones capturing the city's grief. The airwaves were filled with stories of lives saved, criminals throttled, and the countless lives touched by Spider-Man's selfless act of heroism. The city realized the enormity of his sacrifice, the countless battles fought in the name of protecting the innocent. In neighborhoods across the city, children donned makeshift Spider-Man costumes, their innocent faces as a stark contrast to the mourning adults around them. Sirens wailed in the distance of a melody that unscored the city's mourning. Police officers and firefighters, who had often relied on Spider-Man's aid, paid their respects, lining the streets in solemn precision. Their uniforms, badges, and service medals glittered in the fading light, a visual reminder of sacrifices made to protect the city. Amidst the grief, a sense of unity and resilience began to emerge. Strangers embraced, finding solace in shared sorrow. The city's resilience shone through as communities and organizations, schools, and businesses rallied to honor Spider-Man's memory and continue his legacy of helping others. For 1 hour, the city stood united in mourning at a brand new location where the fight had ended, Spider-Man Square, paying homage to a hero who had embodied the very essence of courage and selflessness. In the face of loss, the people found strength in knowing that Spider-Man's spirit would never linger in the hearts of the city's inhabitants. As the night grew darker and the city began to settle, a lone figure stood atop a rooftop, overlooking the scene below. It was Mary Jane Watson, her eyes glittering with tears as she gazed upon the city that had lost its hero. In that moment, she made a silent promise to carry on Spider-Man's legacy, to be a beacon of hope and resilience for those who needed it. And so the city mourned, but it also found within itself the power to heal. The memory of Spider-Man, with all of his sacrifice, would forever remain etched in their hearts, and a testament to the embodiment spirit of a hero who had given everything to protect its people. In the days that followed Spider-Man's heroic sacrifice, the city continued to grapple with the loss of its beloved protector. Ben Parker, Aunt May, and Harry Osborn, along with the support of the community, took it upon themselves to organize a public funeral, a final farewell to honor the fallen hero. The funeral was held in a grand cathedral, its towering arches as solemn backdrop to the outpouring of grief and gratitude. People from all walks of life filled the pews, their faces itched with sorrow, yet also a profound sense of unity. The city had lost a symbol of hope, but it was determined to carry on Spider-Man's legacy. Ben and May, their hearts heavy with sorrow, stood before the crowd, offering words of comfort and strength. They spoke of extraordinary bravery and selflessness Spider-Man had displayed through his crime-fighting career. They shared personal stories of Peter Parker's kindness, his unwavering dedication to justice, and his love for the people that he protected. Harry, still grappling with the loss of his father, found solace in the collective support of the mourners. He spoke about the profound impact Spider-Man had on his life, how their hero had taught him the importance of courage, responsibility, and redemption. Though tears, Harry expressed his gratitude for the sacrifices Peter had made, vowing to honor his memory by fighting for justice in his own new way. As the service concluded, Ben and May led to a memorial site in the heart of the city, a place where citizens could gather to remember and pay their respects. The memorial became a sanctuary of remembrance, adorned with photographs, flowers, and heartfelt messages from people whose lives had been touched by Spider-Man's heroism. However, amidst the collective grief, there remained a prominent absence. Spider-Man's body had never been recovered from the scene of the final battle. Despite searches and rescue efforts, his fate remained a mystery, testament to the ultimate sacrifice he had made to protecting the city. The absence of a physical burial site only deepened the city's sense of loss, but it also symbolized something greater. Spider-Man had transcended the confines of moral limitations, becoming a symbol of hope and inspiration that could never be truly extinguished. The loss of Spider-Man created a shared grief that brought the city together, igniting a desire to carry on his legacy in compassion, justice, and selflessness. In the face of adversity, the city found strength in remembering Spider-Man's heroes. Although the Web-slinger was gone, his spirit lived on in the hearts of its citizens, motivating them to be their own everyday heroes and strive to be better for the city. Deep within the secretive walls of Quest Aerospace, the board members seized the opportunity presented by Spider-Man's ultimate demise. They saw it as a chance to further their nefarious plans and exploit the legacy of the fallen hero. With cold determination, they orchestrated a cover-up, concealing the true fate of Spider-Man's body from the public. Under the guise of a failed rescue attempt, Quest Aerospace publicly declared that Spider-Man's body had never been recovered. They manipulated the media narrative, sowing seeds of doubt and confusion among the city's inhabitants. Though carefully crafted statements and misinformation, They sought to erase any trace of their involvement, ensuring that their sinister actions remained hidden within the shadows. Unbeknownst to the world, within the hidden areas of Quest Aerospace's laboratories, the board members set their sights on a dark plan. Utilizing the blood that they had obtained from Spider-Man's lifeless form, they embarked on a sinister experiment, cloning their own super soldiers, driven by a twisted ambition for power and control. The board members reveled in their newfound discovery. They spoke among themselves, their voices dripping with chilling mix of excitement and malice. The demise of Spider-Man has granted us unprecedented opportunity, one of the board members declared, a wicked gleamer in his eyes. His blood, his genetical material, holds the key to unlocking untold potential. We shall create an army of super soldiers, loyal only to us. Another member chimed in, their voice filled with sinister delight. Imagine the power that we will possess, the dominion over the city and beyond. The board members revealed in their dark machinations, their ambitions reaching new heights. They believed themselves to be the architects of a grand future, a future in which they wielded unraveled power and control and the destiny of the city. Meanwhile, hidden away in the depths of their underground facility, Spider-Man's lifeless body laid motionless, preserved in a state of unnatural stillness. Tubes and wires connected to his form, his essence harbored and exploited for their wicked experiments. His once vibrant and heroic spirit was extinguished but not forgotten in the dimly lit room of Quest Aerospace, where Spider-Man's fate had been manipulated and concealed. A faint glimmer of hope flickered amidst the shadows. A hand rested on the cold surface of a table, its fingers curling into a tight fist, indicating that Spider-Man was not done yet. Unbeknownst to the board members and their sinister schemes, Spider-Man's indomitable spirit resumed to be extinguished. Though his body lay dormant, a spark of resilience remained. Deep within his unconsciousness state, a battle raged on, a battle between life and death. Between darkness and unwavering light of heroism, Spider-Man's hand had twitched, a sign that he was just getting started. A whisper of determination echoed within the confines of his silent existence, defying the illusion of his demise. In the face of overwhelming odds, Spider-Man's spirit refused to be snuffed out. He had faced challenges before and emerged victorious. The city the people had sworn to protect still needed him, and deep within his unconscious mind, a plan began to take shape. A plan to rise again, to return from the brink of death and to face his enemies once more. But for now, the world remained oblivious to this glimmer of hope, unaware of the battle being fought in the depths of Spider-Man's being. The city mourned, the Daily Bugle mourned, and the board members reverted in their victory. Yet, unbeknownst to them, their triumph was but a fleeting illusion, for the true heroism of Spider-Man refused to be gone. In the shadows, Spider-Man's hand remained clenched, a symbol of defiance, and an indication that the battle was far from over. The city would have to wait, unaware of the resurgence that loomed on the horizon, ready to unleash its untamed strength against the darkness that sought to consume it. With the passage of time, Peter Parker's unconsciousness mind stirred, slowly emerging from the depths of his slumber. As his eyelids fluttered open, the world materialized before him, hazy at first, but gradually coming into focus. Confusion and distortion washed over him as he realized that he was still alive. Blinking away the remnants of his unconsciousness, Peter took in his surroundings. He found himself in a dimly lit room, the air heavy with a steery scent. Machines hummed softly in the background, their purpose veiled in secrecy. Tubes and wires connected to his body, evidence of the mechanical inventions that had kept him suspended between life and death. As he raised a trembling hand to his face, Peter felt a faint sting of tears in his eyes. The realization of his survival brought forth a mix of emotions: relief, gratitude, and a burning determination to confront the forces that had sought to destroy him. Though weakened and vulnerable, Peter sensed the lingering presence of his alter ego, Spider-Man, urging him to rise again. The weight of responsibility settled upon his shoulders, reminding him of the duty he had sworn to uphold. The city still needed him, and he could not remain hidden within the shadows. Drawing upon his inner strength, Peter pushed himself up from the cold bed, his muscles protesting in protest. Each movement was an act of defiance against those who had believed him to be defeated. The trials he had faced had forged an unbreakable resolve within him, a resilience that refused to yield. Standing on shaky legs, Peter glanced around the room, his eyes landing on a small mirror hanging on the wall. He stared at his reflection, his gaze filled with a newfound determination. The face that stared back at him held the weight of the battles fought, the scars made, and the sacrifices, and the hope that still burned within his heart. A faint smile tugged at the corners of Peter's lips as he whispered to himself, "I'm not finished yet. Spider-Man will rise again." With that, Peter Parker, the ordinary young man with an extraordinary responsibility, took his first steps towards reclaiming his role as the protector of the city. The echoes of resilience reverted through his veins, fueling his determination to comfort the darkness that attended to engulf his world once more. The city remained oblivious to the truth, unaware of the atrocities being committed in the name of progress and power. The board members operated differently, their actions shielded by a web of dissent and secrecy. And as the city mourned the loss of its beloved hero, the sinister forces behind the scenes reveled in their newfound advantages, preparing to unleash their twisted creations upon an unexpected world. And that is going to be part 1 of What If Peter Parker Had Saved Uncle Ben in Spider-Man 2002. Now, you're probably wondering, this was a long series, like what could happen more? And as I'm looking at my laptop right now, we got another part that's going to be the same length as this. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Part 2 is going to be called A Moment Rewritten. The Clone is Born. And so it's going to be a very interesting take. You know, we have Quest Aerospace. They're doing things behind the scenes. They have, machinations that they don't want people to know, and they also covered up Peter Parker's body at the end of the fight, and we don't know what happened with Norman Osborn's body. If he was disintegrated, we have no idea. But you're gonna find out in part 2, and you're gonna find out very fast, as that part will be coming out to you very shortly. But again, I cannot thank you enough for the outstanding support that you guys give me on this channel. It really means a lot to me. It really goes a long way with, making these types of videos happen, and really giving you solid storylines that are very long, and it really is jam-packed with a lot of detail. I think this was the biggest part 1, like the biggest detailed storyline that I could really give, especially with the goblin fight. I really wanted to go in there and mark off every detail as if you were kind of immersed in that storyline, into the battlefield, like nothing was left out. And I think that's something that I really want to do going forward with this channel, is really showcase a lot of the detail in these battles. And I really loved how it kind of ended with, when Peter died, like when he knew he was going to die, he put his hand out to Uncle Ben. And that was a moment that I loved, and the way that that was captured, I think, in the story really showcases, Uncle Ben's presence and how he can really shape Peter as a hero, and we really saw it within the storyline. I 100% believe that this would have happened, although I don't know if it would have went, fully this way with Ultimate Goblin, but it definitely showcased a lot more. I'm very proud of this storyline. Again, this is a remaster of a previous storyline, and I think that you guys know what we're going to be going into with part 2 and hopefully part 3, because we're not done yet. This script that I did is 124 pages, so I literally did 60 pages. And now we're going into part 2, so we have like another 64 pages left. It's going to be very interesting with part 2. It's going to really conclude things, I believe, but we're going into an alternate Spider-Man 2 storyline, but as well, it's kind of my own thing. it's going in a different direction. And if you guys enjoy that, do make sure to, subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. I do want to say, do make sure to check out my Patreon as well as my Instagram so that you can get all the behind the scenes content and the latest content when I'm uploading on this channel. Again, I cannot thank you enough. I will be uploading What If Peter and Harry Got Bit by the Spider Part 2 shortly, so I don't know if that video will actually be out before this one because, I have been going ham on all these videos. This summer's going to be intense, I can tell you that right now. But again, thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot, and I'll see you in the next video. If you made it this far, 5 stars for you. Thank you so much. Again, it means a lot, and I'll see you again. Peace out.